Good afternoon, Crystal.
Hi.
How are you feeling today?
I feel pretty good.
Good. I know last week you were letting me know that you were just recently diagnosed with anxiety, and that also you were started on a medication to help with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wanted to follow up from last week. Um, how's your mood feeling today? How are you feeling today?
I feel pretty decent. I'm just really tired, probably because I stayed up a little late last night, but I'll be all right.
Understandable. So as far as your anxiety goes, on a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being like the worst anxiety attack ever, give me a number.
That I've had recently, or just
right now
general?
in this present moment.
Oh, in the moment. Okay. Probably like 1 or 2.
One
I
or
feel pretty
two.
good. Yeah.
Okay, good. So today what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about what's most important to you.
Okay.
And then also go over some worksheets, things like that, and then things that you can do in between sessions as well.
Okay.
So I guess the most important thing I want to ask is what topics do you think are most important that we need to discuss today during this session?
I would have to say what brings on the emotion, I guess the anxiety, and what can we do to prevent it?
Okay, so I know you probably wondering, why do I have pen and paper? Because we're both going to be taking notes. You have the opportunity to write down things that you feel are important, and I'll be doing the same.
Okay.
So you just want to know what brings on the anxiety, and then how to combat that, correct?
Yes.
And so, in this session today, like I said, we're going to discuss what brings the feelings that you have, thoughts that you have that brings on that anxiety, and then also ways to help reduce the anxiety, get that number back down to a 1 or 2 that you prefer. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then also we're going to discuss what to do, the worksheets in between the sessions as well. And so since you want to know what brings on those feelings, I actually have a worksheet now that we can work on together.
Okay.
But before we do, can you tell me of the last time that your anxiety was really high? Has anything happened in the past week?
I would have to say last Friday, probably while I was at work, I definitely felt a spark in anxiety. If I had to put a number on it, it probably would have been about a 7.
About a 7.
Yeah. And I didn't take anything that morning. So I did know that by the end of the day, I would definitely have to take something when I got home.
Okay. And so when it was a 7 out of a 10, what were you thinking in that moment? What was going on?
Well, it kind of started the night before. I had an associate that called out because they were sick, and I was trying to find somebody to help me, but I couldn't find anybody. So it was just really the emotion of being alone and not having the proper coverage that I needed to help a fast-paced environment.
Okay.
I guess that I'll put it like that.
Okay. And so what was the feeling after you had that thought of being alone? What did you feel?
I was frustrated. I was a little overwhelmed. My thoughts started racing. I definitely had to take a deep breath while I was at work, and I went into, I call it survival mode, where I just have tunnel vision. I focus on one thing at a time, but I also tried to multitask with other patients, of course, if they came through the door. So that was my way of just dealing with it in the moment.
Okay.
But all I could think about was getting home.
Understandable. And so you said you go into survival mode. So what behaviors do you take on when you're in survival mode like that?
It's more of a, I guess, a serious mode of just focusing on one person at a time versus thinking about everyone that's there
Mm-hmm.
and everyone that is waiting to be helped.
Okay.
So it just helps me to focus on that person I have in front of me and not focus on how many people are after them.
Okay. Okay. And so during those times of anxiety, I think this worksheet here, I'm actually going to let you write on this because, like I said, we're going to do this one together. But this first question is just asking, what 3 things actually trigger your anxiety? And I know you mentioned being alone as one of them. And so what else triggers your anxiety, would you say?
Most of it comes from work. It's work related. It's not home related or anything like that.
Okay.
I would have to say dealing with a disgruntled patient longer than a few days to about a week.
Okay.
That can create anxiety because, you know, you're thinking about them being upset, their issue still isn't resolved. And, you know, you want to try to do the best that you can to help that person in whatever the situation is. So I think that definitely would be it too. Okay,
so you can write that one down as well. And so what feelings or emotions do you have when you have a disgruntled patient that's over a week long, like it's been going on longer than expected?
If I'm not able to give them the results that they're looking for or the answers that they're wanting to hear, I don't like to hear them be upset. I don't like for people to be upset. I like for them to be happy. You know, I try to do the best that I can to get a resolution or to provide a resolution to the patient. But, you know, sometimes it's not always what we want to hear. Understandable.
Is there anything else that triggers your anxiety at work, would you say?
Not right now. I think it's just mostly the staffing part. And then we don't have too many upset patients, but I do have one right now that I'm dealing with that's been going on for a couple of weeks. Okay.
So when you first found out about being alone, you felt frustrated, overwhelmed, was there any truth to that thought? Like, were you truly overwhelmed in that moment, would you say? Like, was there something in that right then in that moment that was just like, that feeling that I'm having is very true?
The moment I found out that she was not going to be able to be with me, I was upset. I was annoyed, mostly annoyed, more than anything, and definitely frustrated. So, I mean, like I said, I just kind of dealt with it because I had to in that moment. But with me going in survival mode, I just kind of put everything on the back burner and, you know, I deal with my emotions later. But whenever I got a chance to actually just breathe and, you know, take a beat, I did that. So, you know, that did help throughout the day. Even though I felt like that, I had a good day for the most part. It's just, I was over it.
Okay. And it sounds like when you breathing, that's a way that you deal with your anxiety. Like that's a way to cope. Like when you feel really anxious, you try to take deep breaths. Is that correct?
Yes. And I try to say, you know, like positive affirmations, like, okay, just a couple more hours, you know, I'll be fine. Or, you know, just breathe and, you know, inhale, exhale. And that usually helps some. And I do have medication as well. I've been kind of taking it as needed. I do take it whenever I feel like a heightened feeling, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I've been taking it a little bit more this week because I've been needing it more this week. But usually I might take it once a week, if that.
Okay. And so that's good that you do that. On this second question, it's asking, what are the physical symptoms that you have when you start feeling anxious? And so that's basically what's going on with your body. What happens with your body?
I could have chest pains. I could also have
and you're more than welcome to write that down.
Okay. Yeah. So chest pains would be one. My blood pressure can go up.
So, like, do you get like headaches or blurry vision, dizziness? Cause, or like, how do you know when your blood pressure's elevated?
Um, Probably whenever my heart rate is up some too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have that much. I don't really experience dizziness like that.
So, how do you
I
know
can
when your
kind
blood
of.
pressure's, I mean, not your blood pressure, excuse me, your heart rate is up? Does anything change within your body? Or is it just a
Mm,
feeling that you have?
it's just a feeling that I have. I can't really explain it. Of what I get. I know my heart rate goes up a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to take a couple of deep breaths. And I think maybe once or twice I might have had a little bit of dizziness.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but I've always associated that with my blood
Blood
pressure.
pressure. So you
Yeah.
could say slash dizziness right there
Okay.
too if you want. And so the third question asks, what thoughts do you tend to have when you feel anxious? And I know you were mentioning earlier, there's frustration, you feel overwhelmed, annoyed. Anything else in particular, like, or excuse me, the thoughts that you have?
Well, I'm not gonna be honest with you. Most of them are negative thoughts.
Okay, and what kind of thoughts are those?
With being frustrated, like I gotta do this by myself. I don't have anybody to help me. It's frustrating. Um, trying to help somebody,
Mm-hmm.
even with the patients, like trying to help them and they really don't want to be helped, but they do want to be helped. It's complicated trying to
Mm-hmm.
figure out what they need when they're not communicating properly.
Most definitely. Most
Trying to
definitely.
help people that don't want your help. As soon
Mm-hmm.
as you greet them, they're like, I'm just looking. Well, what are you looking for? I don't need any help. Cool. That's fine. But I think it's not all of that, but it's just the feeling of, I guess, not being able to do my job properly, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes. And so, is there any truth to that? You not being able to do your job properly?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Not realistically.
So, is there another way that you could think about that?
Probably not care as much.
And so, when you say not care as much, what do you mean?
Probably just take it for what it is. Like they may not really want any kind of help.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But majority of the time, at the end of the day, after they're looking, they still come to the desk and ask a question. So you need help with something.
Okay.
So why can't you ask me that in the beginning? So right. Everybody asks that question all the time. Well, why didn't you come up here in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
But just taking it for what it is and just moving on.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
So if there was another GM, because I know you just recently moved,
mm-hmm.
That you were telling me about last week. So and I don't know your GM's names, but colleagues' names, but if there was another GM in your situation, what advice would you give to them as far as how to handle the anxiety and feelings and thoughts and emotions that they're having? What advice would you give?
Well, I've learned to go into each day with just being optimistic.
Okay.
And just hoping the best for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I am around negative people all the time, I have my negative thoughts as well. But for the most part, I try to be positive with everything that I go into.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just tell them to be optimistic, be open to a positive day, just take a breath, just relax, and just have a good day. Do the best that you can and provide the best service that you can for each person that comes through the door.
Okay.
Because everybody's looking for something. We sell glasses and contacts. So, they're coming in for something. They need one or the other.
Yep, that's right.
So
that's right.
Just remain positive. Just be, just relax and just have a good day.
And so do you think you should, how does that apply to you? Do you try to apply that as well?
I apply it every single day, but I do have my days where I have my moments where I'm overwhelmed with my own thoughts.
Understand.
And that's what gets me.
Yes.
So that's what I'm working on myself.
Okay.
To help with this anxiety that I have, because before I was not dealing with my own emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't dealing with my own feelings. I was just literally taking everything for what it was and just putting my feelings on the back burner.
Okay.
And now I have to deal with it because I'm more aware of my feelings and how I feel.
Good. And so the last part here, I'm going to let you finish in between sessions along with this worksheet.
Okay.
That last question is just asking, what do you do to cope when you feel anxious? And you've mentioned that in this session already, positive affirmations, trying to breathe slowly. And so there's also going to be this worksheet that I want you to complete in between sessions. This is when you're having those negative thoughts, when anxiety arises. And so what you're going to do is you're going to write that thought down as they did up here on this top example.
Okay.
And then what you'll do is you'll counter that with a rational thought.
Okay.
One that's true and that you know is fact for sure.
Okay.
And so how comfortable do you feel completing this prior to the next session? From 0 to 100% being it's going to be completely done.
100%, I should be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that one I'm going to give you now so I don't forget.
Okay.
And so I know you also wanted to discuss ways of decreasing that anxiety as well.
Yes.
And so I've actually got some calming cards here. You'll take about 10 minutes out of your day. You can play some peaceful music that is a zen for you.
Okay.
And so on these calming cards, they're different animals, insects, but basically you're going to start at the starting point, and this helps you to focus on your deep breathing.
Okay.
And so you will trace the outline of this animal along with taking slow, deep breaths.
Okay.
And so this will also help with your anxiety. I would like for you to practice this as well between now and our next session. And so so do you still feel, how do you feel about practicing this between now and the next session? 0, not at all. 100% is going to be done. Like, yeah, I can do it.
100%. Yeah,
Okay.
that shouldn't be an issue.
Okay. And there's different options, like I said, and then if you want me to print out other versions of it, I can as well. There's a chicken and a butterfly there. You want the chickens? Okay. You can have the chicken. So today we just talked about what sparks your anxiety and then ways to cope with that.
Okay.
And so that is, and then you're in between the sessions, you're going to practice the breathing and then also doing the worksheet that focuses on countering that anxiety, those negative thoughts with a positive, rational statement. And so before I let you go, just give me your feedback. Like, how do you feel about this session today?
I feel pretty good about it for the most part. You know, I'm still getting used to the feelings and, you know, understanding the feelings now that I have them or experience them after, you know, my traumatic panic attack. It just kind of, it feels good to talk about it and to just express it because I am aware of it now. So this is good.
Good. Any other questions, concerns?
Nope.
Nope. Well, I thank you and I hope you have a very good evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.